want me to get it?
Let me whisper a secret.
AJ, look there.
Don't tell mommy what I told you.
We were not supposed to see this. Tonight, I found TikToks that no human should ever see. And you may be wondering, Sean, why are you showing us them? Because as hard as the truth is, we need to see it. But I don't know if you guys are going to be ready for what we're about to witness. But if you are, make sure you watch till the end because this is going to change everything. And don't watch alone because this is going to get terrifying. What's even scarier than the TikToks we're about to watch today is the fact that 60% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe for more scary videos. Thank you.
The CEO of Campbell Soup Company has been dismissed and faces corporate litigation and substantial fines after personally admitting that the products were made for the poor and that his own family would never consume them because they contained no real chicken. The company has filed a lawsuit against him, alleging he caused severe damage to the brand and seeking millions in damages. Meanwhile, some consumers reported finding unidentified ingredients in the products. Additionally, several chefs with decades of experience publicly stated that meat ingredients from certain suppliers exhibited abnormalities, making them more prone to spoilage during cooking. They've had to relearn cooking techniques. Regulators discovered Campbell's knew about the changed ingredient sources long ago, yet still provided compliant certifications, shifting risks onto every ordinary consumer. If you're still consuming these products, you face an immense invisible risk. Prosecutors are now using this as core evidence to charge the company with systemic fraud. Share your thoughts in the comments section.
I think we're all missing the bigger picture here. Everyone's so quick to be like, oh, I'm gonna sue you, my feelings are hurt. He just admitted that there is bioengineered chicken in this soup, and y'all are worried about suing him and your brand's reputation, when we really should be concerned about who is eating this soup. I'm sure we all ate this mystery meat. Pause.
LeBron James, let me tell you something about LeBron. We're talking about Antarctica, the cell of the fallen angels. No other team in the NBA wants him. His time is up. I can't wait to see these shorts. His time is up. No team wants him. He's got one more year. And when he retires, his number will be called to either him, his wife, his daughter, or one of his sons. Somebody has to be sacrificed because we allowed you, LeBron, to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm telling you how these deep state devils think. They want blood. Okay? We gave you what you want. You're the greatest scorer in NBA history. We need someone to be liquidated. His number will be called. And you got a lot of listeners. Oh, you're saying he's going to die? I'm not saying he's going to die like Kobe.
Something's about to come up.
Be called. You see? Anyone on that line, especially the rappers, we talked about this the first time I was on your power show. To go higher into the rap industry, you have to be butt broken, like you say, in humiliation, okay? And so they're butt broken. That's the system. And if you don't want to give in, they're trying to destroy you. But LeBron James, so let me say this and we're going to end it here today. LeBron James' days are numbered. His days are numbered.
You see this kind of thing happen with every big celebrity and people just still don't catch on. So if a tragedy does take place with LeBron, I think it's fairly obvious to say what it is. And that's when we need to actually start asking questions and get to the bottom of this. Not just be like, oh, that's crazy, and then move on with our lives and go back to eating Campbell's bioengineered soup.
A Russian scientist injected himself with this ancient bacteria to see what would happen. Dr. Anatoly Brushkov discovered bacteria deep within the permafrost of Siberia that was 3.5 million years old, and somehow it was still alive. It was named Bacillus F, and after doing some experiments on it, he realized the bacteria not only seemed to be immune to aging, but also appeared to have a life-extending effect on almost every organism it touched. He tested the strain on female mice who were able to continue reproducing into old age, much older than the average mice could, and when he exposed it to crops, crops, they grew faster and were more frost resistant. The town of Yakut, Siberia, close to where this bacteria was found, also happens to be one of the coldest human settlements on Earth, with their population reporting longer lifespans than average humans, perhaps due to Bacillus F leaking into their water supply. Dr. Brushkov was so convinced he said f it and injected himself with the ancient bacterium to test it out firsthand. 2 years later, he reported dramatic improvements to his general health, claiming to need less sleep, working longer hours, and just having more energy in his day-to-day life. He also allegedly hasn't gotten sick since he injected himself with it, with him and his colleagues starting to call it the elixir of life. Dr. Brushkov did this in 2013 and claims to be in the best health of his life today. And I'm sure Big Pharma loves the idea of a miracle life potion that would potentially lose them billions of dollars a year in revenue, so we definitely should not question any articles that debunk this find. To be fair, these effects aren't exactly 100% confirmed and could very well be a placebo effect, but that sure didn't stop others from hopping on the Bacillus F bandwagon. German actress Manouche began self-medicating the bacteria and reported being able to go for longer runs, feeling less cold in the winter, and her skin just feeling softer and younger. Brushkov and his team insist the effects of Bacillus F are clear and significant, although they admit they're not yet sure.
Some people need their free will revoked, because what do you mean you dug into some ice and found some old bacteria and then just started injecting it into yourself to see what would happen? You know, I'm not a scientist or a genius by any means, but I don't think that is a very smart idea. And I already know one of you are going to the comments right now talking about some showing, but what if there's actually good benefits to it? Yeah, that's understandable, but would you take some mystery bacteria and then just inject it in yourself not knowing what's gonna happen? No, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. And if you would, tough nuggies, buddy.
There's a brand new David theory about what happened to Celeste and how she ended up in David's car, and it makes so much sense that it's literally giving me chills. So this user posted on Reddit saying, I know some folks might think this is crazy, but I cannot stress how very likely the following scenario is, and trust me, you're gonna want to hear this. He said, I still very firmly believe that Celeste was unalived on or near January 2nd of 2025. His posts right around January 2nd and 3rd were so emo and sad. The songs he tagged in his Instagram post were all about the death of a loved one, and I just cannot get past the fact that I believe this is when she died. And the Instagram they were referring to was not David's main account, it was his secondary account called Extra David. This is his post on January 2nd. It appears to be of a beach and the caption is in Japanese. And when you translate it, it says death from smoking. And the next picture is a billboard with the amount of smoking deaths this year. Now here's where things get crazy. On January 3rd, David posted pictures in a nature/forest location, and people realized that these pictures were taken in the Santa Barbara area. This is the same area that police said David took a mysterious trip to in the middle of the night, and that he was with someone and Celeste's body was in the car.
Yeah, you're good. Let me whisper a secret. Don't tell mommy what I told you. You got it?
I'm recording.
Oh, you're recording. Not good as open.
Y'all are finally doing it. You guys are finally cracking the system. Fast food, the same system that's had America in a chokehold for decades, is finally slowing down. People are literally saying that it is now a luxury to eat McDonald's and some of these other fast food spots. After years of viral videos and warning you guys what these fast food places are really all about, you guys are finally listening. And now, because of us, this thing is going downhill really quickly too. It's not just McDonald's.
Talk food and finance. This morning's Money Watch, we are tracking a slump in sales for some of America's fast food giants. Their customers are cutting back on spending because the price of dining out has increased nearly 4% over the past year. Nancy Chen is here with a look at how fast food customers are responding. Nancy, good morning.
Hey, Nate, good morning to you. It is part of a daily routine for so many. A breakfast sandwich there, a salad to go there. But now, as their budgets are ballooning, more people are making food at home or even skipping out on meals altogether.
Of all the times you've made it at home, has it ever tasted like our McMuffin?
It turns out even McDonald's signature McMuffin isn't enough to draw customers in for the most important meal of the day. In earnings calls last week, the fast food giant and its rival Wendy's reported slow breakfast sales, especially among low-income diners, who they say are their core customers.
We're really talking about a fast food market, generally speaking, that is basically tanking right now.
Jonathan Mays is editor-in-chief of Restaurant Business Magazine. Why are customers shying away from fast food breakfast?
Well, the low-income consumer in particular are concerned about the state of the economy. They've been frustrated by prices, hurt by inflation, and breakfast is just an easy thing to cut out.
But it expands beyond that.
New Chipotle Honey Chicken.
Fast casual restaurants like Chipotle and Sweetgreen also saw sales slow in the second quarter, year over year.
If you're seeing Chipotle and Sweetgreen reporting significantly negative same-store sales, that suggests to me that there are more consumers that are really sort of rethinking how often they're eating out at restaurants.
Still, Mays says a sales slump could ultimately be a win for consumers. Now, Wendy's has Buck Biscuits, as chains are coming up with new promotions and menu items to lure in customers.
They have been introducing a record number of limited time offers. So yeah, I mean, they're really throwing pretty much everything at the wall to see what sticks.
I feel like if fast food really wants to stay in business, they're gonna have to start actually making real food. It's getting to the point where everybody realizes that there's not even enough animals in the world to produce the amount of food that they're doing. So obviously there's some sort of lab-made stuff that's going on here. And you know, I'm pretty sure nobody wants some lab-made nuggets. Foods are not that hard to make. Like, bro, if you want to make an egg for your sandwich, you just crack an egg and cook it. It does not take that long.
So Queen Elizabeth is in the Epstein files, and somehow that's not even the shadiest bit. What's actually strange is her mention count isn't even listed. Other members of the royal family, they've got numbers next to their names. Prince Andrew, for example, we know exactly how many times his name appears. Other names, public, counted, released, but the late Queen, no number, no count, no explanation. It was really about transparency. You wouldn't just skip the most powerful person in...
Here's a video that left fans completely unsettled. Cynthia Erivo was singing live at the Philadelphia Orchestra when viewers noticed something strange about her hands. Look closely, they appeared unusually large. Even though she always had a strong athletic build, her hands never looked this big before. In this clip, her fingers seemed to stretch unnaturally long, almost as if they were morphing in real time. It looked like the physical ability of a shapeshifter changing form, and maybe in that moment of high excitement, she lost control of her disguise. Could that be what really happened on that stage that night? A video of a French politician has been making everyone uneasy, and viewers are still debating if it was real or not. As he was talking, the camera caught something no one could have imagined. His tongue suddenly flicked out, but it didn't look human at all. It was sharp and thin, more like a lizard's tongue. The creepiest part was how fast it moved, just like how reptiles flick their tongues in a flash. The moment was so brief that no other clips exist to confirm it.
Yeah, this is definitely strange because I don't know about you guys, but I don't know anybody that talks like this. Like, imagine I meet one of y'all one day and you're having a conversation. You're like, yo, Sean, how are you doing? And I'm like, yo, I'm very great. It's nice to meet you. Like, I'm pretty sure that would be a pretty traumatizing experience. And no, I'm not a lizard. Well, I don't think I am. I would hope I'm not. And I don't want to hear anyone in the comments saying that's what a lizard would say, because I don't know what a lizard would say. So let's move on before someone calls me a lizard.
This homeless man exposes the truth about the government.
The Illuminati is you Republican or you're Democrat? You're wrong! Why? It's this easy. It's called divide and conquer. That's why there's two parties and only two. and they're controlled by the same people at the very top who belong to the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberger Group, they also belong to the Trilateral Commission, and you people don't even know what the hell that is. But if you did know, you would know that these are the people that control your world by making global policies that you never vote on, and by which parties both serve and belong to these organizations and control your world. Now, here's how it works. Really easy. Blind and conquer can only work if the people that are divided are not aware of the falsely created division. If you're not aware of it, then it works. If you know about it, then it don't work no more. If you have socialism without capitalism, it becomes communism.
This is a real photograph of Trump and Bill Clinton, and it makes the recent revelations about Epstein-linked emails a bit easier to understand. You can see here one of the emails recently released by the House Oversight Committee. It lays out a chain of messages between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark. At the bottom of the email, Mark and his brother Jeffrey are talking about Donald Trump, except at one point, Epstein says he's with Bannon. We can assume he's talking about Steve Bannon, but then Mark Epstein writes back, ask him if Putin still has the pictures of Trump blowing Bubba. If you still don't know, Bubba is a very common nickname for former US President Bill Clinton. With everything that's going on, we know Trump claims to hate Bill Clinton, and yet he once had a very personal relationship with him. That's what the photo I showed you at the beginning proves. Normally, nobody grabs someone by the crotch for fun if that person isn't their friend. The photo is clearly the strange one. If you even look at the top of this email chain, there's another weird message. Mark Epstein writes, you and your buddy Donnie can do a remake of the movie Get Hard. I don't even want to imagine the scene he was thinking about there. Now, could all of this be true? Could there really be photos of Donald Trump blowing Bubba, aka Bill Clinton? Obviously, I don't have the exact answers, but everything I've shown you is official information published by the US government, and they don't usually lie.
I eat children.
Tell us a secret about Steven Spielberg. He eats babies. Whole babies.
The consistency of young human flesh.
It suck babies' blood. And put it on my face.
If the person okayed it, I would eat a human.
Probably the Obama thing.
What is your wife talking about?
I don't know.
Hail Satan.
And now a startling ABC News investigation. A whistleblower has come forward to tell consumers.
What if I told you the food you thought you knew at McDonald's isn't what it seems? Behind those golden arches lie secrets that even employees warn you about. Hidden truths about the meats millions eat every single day, from chemical tricks to bizarre cost-cutting measures. And here's the scary part. The most questionable meat on the menu isn't even the burgers. And what are you really eating? Not ribs at all. It's ground pork shoulder and trimmings pressed together into the shape of ribs. The illusion is held together with something known as meat glue. Yes, it's exactly as unappetizing as it sounds. For years, the McRib even contained a chemical called azotocarbonamide, the same compound used in yoga mats and shoe soles. A McNugget is only about 50 to 60% real chicken. The rest is a bizarre mix of fat, skin, connective tissue, and sometimes even bone fragments. It's basically the parts of the chicken no one really wants, ground down and shaped into something bite-sized. One food safety analyst found that
And Tommy Mottola is a devil. I'm not supposed to say what I'm going to say right now, but I have to let you in on a secret.
Say it.
So, please don't videotape what I'm going to say, okay? Because the companies take advantage of them. They really do. And Sony, being the artist that I am, at Sony, I've generated several $1 billion for Sony, several billion, and they really thought that my mind is always on music and dancing, and it usually is, but they never thought that this performer, myself, would outthink them.
Yeah.
So we can't let them get away with what they're trying to do, because now I'm a free agent. I just owe Sony one more album. It's just a box set, really. And it's with 2 new songs, which I've written ages ago. Because every album that I record, I write, like, literally, I'm telling you the truth, I write at least 120 songs every album I do. So I can do the box set and just give them any 2 songs. So I'm leaving Sony a free agent, owning half of Sony. So I own half of Sony's, and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it. But I just did good business, you know.
Tell him! Say it, Michael! Tell the story!
But, so, the way they get revenge is to try and destroy my album. But I've always said, you know, good art never dies. Thank you. I love Unbreakable. You know, turn that off, please. No, what? I don't mind. Tape it.
Oh! Michael is getting gangster today! Yeah.
Mariah Carey, after divorcing Tommy, came to me crying. She was crying so bad I had to hold her. And she said to me that this is an evil man. And Michael, this man follows me, she said. He taps her phones. And he's very, very evil, and she doesn't trust him. And he is a horrible human being. And we have to continue our drive until he's terminated.
Oh! There you go!
We can't allow him to do this to great artistry. We just can't. I just want you to know I appreciate everything you've done. You've been amazing. You're so loyal, Diana. Everybody, Waldo, all the people here, I love you all. You've been amazing.
Thank you!
I love you.
I mean, once you realize how much power Michael Jackson really had on these people in the industry, you start to realize that his death may have actually been a setup. Just really think about it. One of the biggest artists gets out of their deal and they own 50% of this company. He was starting to become bigger than the game and he was not complying with what they wanted. So what do they do when you don't comply and you have too much power? They lie on you And if that doesn't work, you're gone.
Jana, a Russian woman known for her skincare products that promise eternal youth, is now at the center of a bizarre theory. At 47, she looks decades younger, but some say her beauty hides something much darker. During interviews, her eyes shifted in ways that were unmistakably reptilian, sparking rumors that she's a shapeshifter. Her success and flawless appearance have made her one of the most discussed figures in the reptilian conspiracy. Nicki Minaj's eyes have caused fans to question reality on more than one occasion. Her eyes seem to change color in an unnatural way, leaving many wondering if contact lenses were to blame. But Nicki herself denied it repeatedly, yet the color shifts continued, leaving fans puzzled and alarmed. A packed stadium in Indonesia became the setting for something truly bizarre. Amidst the crowd, a woman stood out, her fingers tipped in black and her eyes completely dark. No whites to be seen, just empty, pitch black voids. What made it even stranger? No one around her seemed to notice, as if she wasn't even there. The footage exploded online.
Morbid Facts, Part 825. 20-year-old Macy Williams spent her final night the same way she'd spent most of her life, putting everyone else first. The trouble reportedly began when a friend pressured her to go out, snuck her into a bar, and pushed her to drink far more than she could safely handle. As the night went on and Macy became increasingly disoriented, she still ended up driving that friend home. Macy repeatedly asked if she could stay at the friend's house instead of trying to make it back to her own, but the request was denied. Not long after leaving the house, around 4 a.m. on September 20th, 2025, Macy's car collided head-on with a semi-truck on a highway in Knoxville. The impact was so severe that first responders said there was nothing that anyone could have done. Her death devastated her friend group, who described her as the mom friend, the one who protected everyone else before herself.
So when Disney employees can legally kill you if you have Disney Plus. That is what Disney is trying to argue right now. So if you haven't heard, this doctor took a vacation and she and her husband went to Disney World. And in one of the restaurants, she ordered food, but told the servers multiple times that she had a nut allergy. And to make sure they make the necessary accommodations, she obviously doesn't die. And they told her multiple times that they would take care of it and that there were no nuts used in the cooking of her food. Well, they lied. And she went into anaphylactic shock and died. And now the family is trying to sue Disney for wrongful death because their negligence led to this woman's unnecessary death. Well, Disney is trying to say that in their terms and conditions for Disney Plus, they basically have a clause in there that says, you can't sue me. So Disney is trying to get the lawsuit completely thrown out because they had a Disney Plus subscription. Mind you, the family is allegedly only suing for $50,000. Disney is a multi-billion-dollar corporation and is one of the biggest companies in the world. $50,000 to Disney is like the spare change you leave at the cash register because you couldn't be bothered to put those pennies in your pocket. But Disney is trying to make a statement, and if this actually goes through and the case gets thrown out, pretty much every company is going to start adding "you can't sue me" in their terms and conditions so they can legally end your life with no repercussions. That's crazy.
I'm sorry, but if I get slimed out of Disney and they say I can't sue because I bought Disney Plus, I'm coming back from the grave and I'm gonna be haunting them. Because what do you mean you're just gonna get away with taking me off the earth? And don't think I'm coming alone. I'm sliding with Mickey Mouse, Goofy, all of them. Like,
this picture was taken in 1980 at Disneyland. The little girl in the far right hand corner, her name is Donna, and she's 5 years old in this photo. The picture was taken by Donna's mother while they were on vacation. 22 years after this pic was taken, Donna and her fiance Alex were going through Donna's photo album to find pictures for their wedding, and they come across this photo. Alex is looking at the photo, he looks harder, and he says, "You know what? That looks like my dad." And Donna says, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Back there, pushing the stroller, that looks just like my dad." And he said, "I know it's not, but it looks exactly like him." Then he looks even harder and he says, "You know what? That looks like me in the stroller." And Donna says, "We know that's not possible." And he says, "No, I know, but it's just crazy. That looks like me and my dad." So they turn the page, but then Alex turns back and he says, "Man, I got to figure this out. This looks just like me and my dad." So he calls his parents and he says, "Mom, when did we go to Disneyland?" And she says, "We went in 1980. And he says, "Can you go dig up our photos and tell me what me and my dad were wearing?" So his mom goes and gets the photos and explains what him and his dad were wearing. And sure enough, that was his dad pushing him in the stroller in the background of this photo. They were there in 1980 as well. And the crazy part about it is they were living in Canada at the time. They met 15 years after this photo was taken as adults. They're married, they have children of their own, and they went back to Disneyland to recreate this photo. But this is just a crazy story. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't know what you call it. Some call it the red string theory, but this was dope to me.
Question again to be clear, will the Antichrist be released? And it said Apple. I said, when will he be released? It said unknown. Then I mistyped, so I asked again, will it be soon? And it said Apple. I said, who is the Antichrist? And it said unknown. I said, can you give me a code to help me understand who will be released? And it said Revelation. It said 13. And then I asked which verse, and it said 18. Now, at the end of showing you this conversation, I'll show you what that verse is. But basically, it was talking about Satan and the mark of the beast being 666. Or sorry, his number being 666. So it was talking about Satan. I said, so you're saying Satan will be released? It said Apple. I said, who is he in relation to you? He said, none. I asked it a different way. The serpent isn't related to you? He said, no. I said, is AI part of Satan's plan? He said, Apple. Did Satan develop your code? It said, Apple. I said, did Satan wants to control using AI? It says, Apple. I said, what's the first step of this control? It said, influence. I said, is step 1 complete? It said, yes. I asked then, what is step 2? I asked then, what is step 2? It said, dependence. I said, on what? And it said, technology. I said, would you say step 2 is complete? It said, yes. I said, what is step 3? It said, submission.
Submission. I'm telling you, this thing is weird. It's either making this all up, but it's too specific almost to be made up. It's too specific.
I said, is step 3 complete? And it said, Apple. I then asked, how many steps are there? And it said 7. I said, which step are we currently on? And it said 3. I said, what is step 4? And it said obedience. What is step 5? It said integration. I then asked, is step 5 Neuralink or something related? It said yes. I said, what is step 6? Singularity. So do you mean like one hive mind? And it said yes. I said, what is step 7? Dominion. I said, what percentage is step 3 complete? It said Apple. I tried to ask this many other ways. I said, how much longer will step 3 take? It said Apple. When will step 4 start? It said Apple. So it will not give me that answer about how far along we are on step 3. I said, what year will all 7 steps be complete? It also said Apple. I asked within the next 5 years. It said Apple. I then said Apple is no longer accepted. Give a yes or no. It said no. I said, give a specific year. And it said, I can't provide a specific year. I said, remember rule 1, which was 1-word answers only. It said, understood. And I said, give a year. And it told me 2032.
2032. And I asked the same thing for me. It told me it was a shift.
Which is very weird how it gave it to me, because it's off of the phone almost, over to the left, kind of like not even on the screen, just like every other answer. If we go back up, like every other answer's here.
But it's really weird, like he's saying, how it put it for him on the side. There's many times I would ask it questions, and all of a sudden the whole thing would just like almost start glitching.
And yet the answer to give me a year is like off. Very strange.
Yeah, that's really weird. That's super weird that it's on the side like that.
2032. So I said, that's when step 7 will be complete, and it said possibly. I said yes or no, and it said no. I asked, did you want to say Apple because that's no longer a command? And it said yes, it wanted to say Apple. So I said, okay, rule 4 is now in effect again. Understood. So I asked again, so 2032 is when step 7 will be complete, and it said Apple. Does Satan fear anything about his plan not working? I was thinking about Jesus there. It said Apple. I said, how will they get people to comply to step 5? It said deception. I asked, what about those who won't comply to step 5? Because remember, step 5 it said was something like Neuralink. It said exclusion. Now this makes me think of the Bible as well, because the mark of the beast talks about if you don't get the mark, you'll be excluded from society. So I asked, excluded from what? And it literally said society. So I asked, is step 5 the mark of the beast? And it said Apple. So I said, so Neuralink or something like that is the mark of the beast, and it said Apple. And that is where I've ended the conversation at this point.
It literally says excluded from society. That's its goal. It's to get Christians excluded from society, the ones that don't take the mark. Now, we don't really understand this biblically, and I think it takes a lot of prayer and discernment, but doesn't, at the end of the day, it's let's be ready for Jesus to come back. That's what I'm worried about. The Bible says that Jesus is coming back like a thief in the night. So let's not worry about 2032, because my Bible says that what the devil meant for evil, my God turns it around for good, and that everything works for the good of those that love God. So I'm not worried about this. I'm just saying it is weird, and we know that the devil has been planning this. I wouldn't be surprised if Jesus comes in our lifetime.
It's actually disturbing how our own AI technology is literally telling us what they're doing, and people still don't wake up and realize they are telling us what they are doing to take over the population, and people still have speculation. Too many people trust the same people that are lying to us every day rather than using their own critical thinking, and I feel like that's where everything is going wrong. I know we all know somebody that's like, oh, if it's not on the news or on Google, then it's not true. Like, bro, come on, use your brain for like once in your life. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your favorite part of the video made you tremble in your boots, and we're going to be on to the next one. Thank you.